And we are live. Good evening, alienated parents, alienated grandparents, children, family, friends out there. Anyone who deals with parental alienation, I urge you to come and tune in tonight with my special guest, Penny Fisher. Penny is an alienated mom who started going through parental alienation in 2005 of April. I was following her in 2 months later. Penny and I have been alienated the same year, going through the exact same thing, only Penny was not arrested to never see her children. But what Penny did, Victim Services awarded Penny with an extension and never saw her girls again because she was raising awareness for domestic violence and parental alienation. It saved me in my trial, but my children were adults by this time. Penny's children at the time in 2005, her son was 14 years old, and she had two girls, 9 and 11. You had four children, right, Penny?
Yes.
That you were alienated from. In 2005, Penny left under police protection to never see her kids again since 2010. So now that's 18 years, just like I've been going through. Parent alienation is such a severe abuse to the kids that will leave them hanging for the rest of their lives, and we don't know whether they're going to be normal kids, to abuse their own kids, to abuse their parents, to abuse anybody, their future partners. This parent alienation affects everybody so horribly that if they can't get help, they will be stuck for the rest of their lives and become mentally and emotionally abused, psychologically. Our kids are no different than us women or men who have been stuck in a domestic violence situation. Stockholm syndrome. Our kids are going through the same thing. They're being brainwashed. And Penny can testify to what she's going through. Penny is from Toronto, Ontario. I'm from Hamilton, Ontario. Welcome, Penny. We are neighbors. We got to meet one time during a couple political events in Toronto, and we were raising awareness back then. And we've come a long ways, Penny. Penny's strong. She knows her stuff, and I'm going to let Penny talk while I share this program with other groups worldwide. But Molly and I would like to thank everyone that are tuning in tonight. Please comment. We can answer your questions. Anything you've got to help us with, we will take all suggestions. We are here to find solutions. And together, I believe Penny and I could help with a lot of them. Thank you again, Penny Fisher from Toronto, Ontario. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi, everybody.
I'm
Penny. I first started in parental alienation in 2005, as Mary was saying. It really began with other situations within the marriage where I started putting boundaries on very negative abusive behavior. It was definitely quiet for a couple of months until April of 2005, when it was demanded that I remove those boundaries, and I refused. The boundaries were to make the marriage better, the family better, etc. But then the bomb dropped. For somebody who didn't want the children to begin with, or throughout their childhoods, suddenly became super bad.
So we know
the kids didn't really have a relationship with him until he wanted custody. And he filed for divorce. And he's citing, of course, that I'm being abusive to him. And that's when it started turning with my older two. At the time, my older two were 14 and 15. My younger two were, let's see, 5 and 7. So within a few months, it had already been okay for the children to assault me. It had already been okay to basically erase me, be rude to me, swear at me. You know, I went from mom to Penny to my full name Penelope to my birth name to absolutely, you know, a few choice words and then nothing at all. And then the parameters kept always changing. The tension kept, you know, going in all the time. Now I knew something was happening to my kids. And I literally, walking through universities, colleges in Toronto, looking for a public programmer. I had read Steve Hassan's Freedom of Mind, and he mentioned parental alienation, and that was my first clue, but I didn't really know what it was. All I knew is that my children were under the influence, and I was trying to find someone who could help them with that. So I guess fast forward, I ended up leaving in November of 2005 under police protection. My son was there that day skipping school. Because skipping school was okay. So that was a very difficult situation to be in. But the only saving grace I can say about that is that I got one last hug from my son. That was the last time I was able to hug him. So then I moved out and had the kids stalking me and reporting back to him. Now, fortunately, my younger two weren't under the influence at that time. And they were actually happy that we moved away. But that didn't last very long. We ended up moving to another place, and my youngest just quickly turned. I would say within a matter of 3 days. I saw her. I would drop them off on a Wednesday morning, and then pick them up on a Sunday morning. And Wednesday she was hugging me, kissing me. You know, I wish you, kind of crying, wishing she could stay. And then by Sunday morning, she wouldn't even look at me. And I didn't know what happened. I really didn't know. And then suddenly she got violent. You know, and she's 9 years old. And she was big enough to be able to do damage. She was vandalizing. At some point, she had attacked one of the kids at school, like in the classroom, and overturned the desk. She was so angry all the time. And I was trying to reason with her, get through with her, but I had a zero tolerance for violence. So if she was violent at home, I would not let her go up to kids on the street because I couldn't trust that they would be safe. Right. But then she started vandalizing her room. We had actually planned to redecorate her room, and within weeks she was totally destroyed it. I had made her a chalkboard wall so that she could express herself and get her feelings out and so on. And then it was just graffiti. And she actually engraved in the wall, plaster wall, I hate PP.
Which you know what? Let me just say something. I did that too. I made a chalkboard wall over my daughter's bed.
Exactly.
She was 16 at the time. Instead of writing all these swear words all over the wall, I allowed her to do it on the chalkboard, and then she could change it. Well, it got to the point where she became so abusive that she would come down and put notes onto the fridge. I hate you both. You know, my daughter hated us both at one time, but that was very brief to hating only me. So the kids flip-flop, right?
I think that's the
I think
difference
that's the
between
difference between
alienation and
alienation
just
and
a
just
regular teenage young person
young
behavior.
person behavior.
It's not the
Borderline.
I hate you, mom, I can't go to the dance. This is
Mhm.
This
hatred.
is hatred.
Mm-hmm.
This is like
This is
Nazi
like
Germany
Nazi
hatred.
Germany hatred.
Exactly.
You know,
That's what I
this is
quoted
this is
too.
not
This is
something
not something
that they
Nope.
that
just
they just
pass in
pass
a moment and
in
it's
a
gone.
moment and it's gone.
You
That's
know,
right.
and
And
it really
it
is
really is
deep-seated,
deep-seated.
and it's just tragic.
tragic.
It breaks my heart
because
it meant for
my
my children's childhoods were gone.
were gone.
Yes.
Now, the last time I saw my youngest daughter was after I had been accused of child abuse, and tried to get me arrested and so on, which wasn't true. I ended up having to call my daughter several times, or police on my daughter several times. Sorry about that. And he ended up actually in the psych ward at a hospital because the authorities had arranged for her to go, but hadn't told me why they were sending her. So it was something that I kind of learned after the fact. But even then, I stayed with her all night in that place because I didn't feel that it was a safe place for her to be. You know, there were other patients looking in the window, and a 9-year-old child. So I stayed with her all night, but and at one point we had a small breakthrough. They were trying to take blood from her, and she's screaming, "Mommy, don't let them hurt me!" And that's the only thing that I know that she's still in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it gets a little overwhelming sometimes.
Take your time. Take your time.
So
take a
I
deep
don't know
breath.
when my middle daughter turned. The last time I saw her, I was in a supervised center, and she came once. And she was over me. She was hugging me, kissing me, didn't want to let me go. And the next time I saw her was on her campus for her high school.
Can I stop you for a minute, Penny?
Go ahead.
Apparently you're echoing.
Yeah,
something's
I
wrong
feel
with
like I am.
your-
I don't know how to get rid of that.
I don't know either. That's your internet. Do you have another server on? Two different servers? I can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes. If the audience can let us know.
It's still echoing, but I don't know.
Can the audience let me know how it sounds after this? Go ahead, Penny.
Sorry. I don't know when my daughter last time I saw her. She was on her high school campus, and she was just about to pass me. And unfortunately, I don't think I really knew who she was because she had changed so much. And I called her name, and she just started suddenly screaming and saying, "Get away from me! Get away from me! Leave me alone!" And she just started yelling me in the street. So I had to just let her go. And all I could do was just cry for her. You know. And I just thought, not you two.
It's very difficult. I know we see this all the time when we go into help do parenting time to help families out there. The children don't want to go to see the one parent, and they will literally freak out screaming that this parent was abusive, but they're conditioned to do it. They've had the fear put in them.
Oh yeah.
So they have to keep up the acting, and they don't realize they're acting, but this is what it's all about, because they're scared to be punished by the alienating parent.
Yeah.
Because
they will be.
Yeah, because that alienating parent has access to them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So these kids, if they want a bed, the alienator will say, you do as I tell you. You do as you're told,
Mhm.
or else you can go live on the street with your mom or your dad. These are very horrible
Yeah.
things for a parent to say to a young
Mhm.
child.
Yeah, my youngest two
youngest
were
two were
literally
literally
made to share a
made to
bedroom with
share
their
a
father.
bedroom with their
10
father.
square foot
10 square
bedroom
foot
under chain
bedroom
lock
under
and
chain
key.
lock and key.
Oh, wow.
And court
And
never saw
court
anything
never
wrong
saw
with it.
anything wrong with it.
Like, I don't even know
Like, I
why he
don't even know
wasn't
why he
sharing a room
wasn't
with
sharing
my
a room
son.
with my son.
And yet I couldn't get access to my kids unless I had a 3-bedroom apartment for them so they could have their own room. And they allowed your ex-husband to have the girls
Well,
in
that
bed
was the
with
thing,
them?
is
That was
that
the thing, is
their
that
home visit
their home visit
never took place at
Wow.
the
never took
house.
place at the house.
But that
Wow.
seemed to be
But
okay
that seemed to
too.
be okay too.
So backwards.
Yes.
Yes.
And I even showed them
And I even
pictures
showed them pictures
that
that
my oldest
my
daughter took
oldest daughter took
of what it was like
of
around
what
the
it was
house.
like around the
And,
house. And
it basically, it was like a prison.
like a prison.
And
Mm.
my first thought
My
was,
first thought was,
God help them, it's
God
there,
help them,
there's a fire.
there's a fire.
What if they have to go to
What
the
if they have to
bathroom?
go to the bathroom?
Exactly.
They have no
They
privacy.
have no privacy.
You know,
You know,
like in what
like in
healthy
what
environment,
healthy environment
does that ever
does
exist?
that ever exist?
Well, it doesn't. I mean,
Yeah.
social services will make sure that if the child isn't a boy and a girl, if they're in the same room, that's an issue.
That's why I brought it
That's
to
why
court.
I brought it to court.
And yet the courts allowed
Yet they
your
gave him
children
custody.
to
Yet they gave him
sleep with
custody.
the father.
Yeah.
Now this is
Yeah.
conditioning the children to sexual abuse, enmeshment, so that they could see the father changing and all this other stuff. This is kind of like so wrong.
You know what?
So wrong.
You know what?
There was a
There was a
suspected.
suspected.
I can't ever
I
say
can't
there
ever say
was,
there
but
was, but
there were
there were
signs.
signs.
It's sad. So sad that our girls have to grow up like this, and we've been protecting them from pedophiles, and yet these perverts and predators and are all living under the same roof.
Yeah, and
Now
yet I'm the
that's-
abusive
And yet
one.
I'm the abusive one.
apparently.
Yeah,
apparently.
and the one that's protecting them are the ones that are the abusers. And this has to change. We need to start
Yeah.
protesting all this in these courts,
Oh,
because our children are getting damaged. And they're pushed away from a loving
Mhm.
grandparent to an abusive grandparent. That doesn't make sense either, because the alienator's parents, if they're withholding the children from you as well, is just like the alienating parent.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I took part in helping out with creating the domestic violence court.
Mm-hmm.
However, I did not
However, I did not
apply for my own
apply
court.
for my own court.
And why is that?
Because by the time our case started, or it was before the domestic violence court started, and because we were in the because we were in the superior court, we were not allowed to change over to the domestic violence court.
Yeah, I heard that you can't switch over.
No.
Mine started in criminal, went to family.
Mhm.
But when I went to the trial, it was civil, family, and criminal.
Mm-hmm.
So
See, we never made it to family court either. It went straight to superior court.
superior. Wow, they
And
make their own
therefore you
rules.
get a judge on call.
Yeah, whatever's available.
Yeah.
And that's how I was too here in London, Ontario.
Yeah.
So it's whoever they pay off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my judge was a criminal judge brought in just to do my case, and then got promoted to supernumerary judge a week later in Kitchener.
So he had to drop your case.
So yeah, so I mean, how do you compete with these people?
I wish I knew.
It's so difficult to get anybody that's honest because everybody's playing the corrupt card. You know, we're Trump.
This is the thing that's gotten me. This has gone against everything I've grown up learning. You know, you follow the rules, you be responsible, you do what you're supposed to, and things go well for you.
Mm-hmm.
Not the experience. The experience is very different.
It is.
You know, it's like living in Alice in Wonderland, where everything looks familiar, but nothing makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So tell me, do you know what your children are doing? Do you have like anybody that's in contact with them that know the lives of your children?
Well, I have one with me, my oldest.
Okay.
But the youngest just went private with her account again. I was following her because she was online. So proud of her. She's does very well at anything she does.
Okay.
You know, high marks, extremely intelligent, beautiful, really a wonderful soul. And actually does a lot of advocating like I do. But she doesn't know that.
What did she advocate?
She advocates for youth fashion.
Oh,
She's a fashion youth ambassador.
nice.
And she advocates keeping clothing out of landfill.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So,
and she was president of the student association in university.
And how old
And
is she now?
She's 23 now.
23.
Yeah. And I did see that she went abroad for I guess a few weeks. But I was just so glad that she had a chance to be able to be away and be independent and somewhat think independently, clearly, and objectively, and have time and distance. You know.
Mm-hmm. How about
my
your boy?
son, I don't know.
You don't
And
know?
my middle daughter, I don't know.
Sad.
And they're now 32 and 25.
Do any of them have children?
No idea.
No, you don't know.
I wish I knew.
Wow. Are they living
love to be a
here
grandma.
around you? Pardon?
I'd love to be a grandma.
I know. You and me both.
Yeah.
I'm actually, I advocate for other people worldwide that are grandparents right now. And I can't imagine being a grandmother and not having to hold a grandchild. My mom hasn't seen my children in 18 years either. She's 91 years old. My father was denied access to his grandchildren on his deathbed 4 years ago. We wrote to the lawyer to get address for them. My father had things for them before he passed, and he could never give it to them. And the lawyer denied giving us any information. When I went through the trial last year, he had all their emails, everything, but denied, saying that he didn't have anything. So they're hiding so many things on us. Our kids were sick. I wasn't even allowed to know about it. My daughter, she was 15 years old going through surgery. I find out 3 weeks after she had surgery. I mean, I'm there for everybody that gets hurt, but I can't be there for my kids. This is a sick, cruel joke that they play on us. And for 18 years, I had to find my kids on social media to know what they were doing.
Yeah.
It's
and
sad.
look, 18 years as what's a childhood? The first 18 years of their life.
Yeah, well, my kids were teenagers, not like yours, very young. that would have destroyed me if he'd taken the kids at that time when they were young. But he had no tolerance for them, so he set it up, because he told me when they were 2-3 years old that when the kids turned teenagers, he's going to take them, and I will never see them again. And his threats played through every word he said. When a narcissist says something, they mean it.
Oh yeah.
And if
for
you know,
sure.
look out if you defy them. And this is why we walk on eggshells as domestic violence survivors. You know, like the moment the police dragged me out of the house, they wanted to cuff me in front of my 2 teenage children, but I had medical braces on and they couldn't cuff me. But they said, be grateful, we're taking you to the cells and not the morgue. And this is Daniel Thompson that took me. And he had such, I don't know if it was concern or just blank on his face. He didn't care whether I had evidence that I didn't say it, because my ex-husband said he feared the kids' lives, so he took them out of the house. But yet there's 2 of them there with me, hugging me as the police are ripping them out of my arm. I felt like I was going through Hitler time. You know, my kids are being taken, and that, it was horrible.
Yeah.
And I live that.
Oh,
I live
yeah.
that pain. I live it daily. And people don't understand when I advocate what it feels like. It's pins and needles through our system, our nervous system.
Oh
You know,
yes.
it's like having a kidnapper come and kidnap your child, and you don't know what's going on with them anymore. So people out there got to understand this is not junk science. This is true, real life.
Yeah.
Us alienated parents, moms and dads, are suffering.
I find though that the people who think that it's junk science only look at the adults.
Yeah.
They don't
Not
look
the
at what
children.
happens to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And their childhood's gone. And it's almost like they're in a coma. Because they're not allowed to be independent. They're not allowed to grow. They're not allowed to think critically. They're not allowed to challenge. You know, they're not allowed. It's like they're frozen.
They can't question.
And yeah. So it's like, you know, would you walk away from a child who's in a coma? You know, I have to be strong when they come out of that coma. But they're not going to be better right away. It's going to take them time to recover.
Yeah. Yeah. I was one of them, alienated from my father for 40 years. And once 40 years off and on, I got to see my dad about 5 times in those 40 years. But in 2005, when he bailed me out of jail, he brought his mistress with him at that time. And when my father bailed me out, he said that he was sorry for not believing in me when I said I didn't want to get married. He dragged 24 years earlier, he dragged me down the aisle to marry this man. 24 years later, he's wheelchairing me down the court aisle, bailing me out. And I had not seen him in between, other than the time he took me to the airport to go to Germany in 1985. And then after that, he wasn't allowed to talk to me, or all the mail my ex-husband wouldn't send it while we were overseas. He hid everything instead of, allowing the grandpa to see the kids through pictures and stuff. My dad never got anything, or the mistress would countercept it on the other side. So, I'm being blocked by 2 people, my stepmother and my ex-husband, from my family the whole time. And I didn't know until I found a pile of mail underneath the car seat one time, looking for my son's soother. And I thought, oh my God, you didn't mail any of these, right? So when I did find my dad, what was it, 5 years later, he was in palliative care on his deathbed. So by then she married him. because my dad made me power attorney when he bailed me out of jail and all that, because he was sick
Right.
and wanted me to look after his finances. And that time she went and married him, and then he gets put in palliative care. She never told me. And then when he died 4 years ago, she never called me. But 3 nights ago, she calls. She called me 3 nights ago to see how I was doing. You know, when I saw my dad flash on the phone, and I was shocked because he was dead for 4 years. And I'm wondering, is this for real?
Yeah.
But it was my stepmother. And the first thing she says, she goes, "Oh, you can't see who this is, do you, honey?" And I said,
What?
"Yeah." And I was shocked. And I
Right.
said to her, I said, I know who you are. I said, and it took you 4 years to tell me my father's dead. And then, you know, she says, "Oh, I'm so sorry, honey. I just called to say how you doing, honey." And click, she hung up. I never heard again.
Reflection.
So yeah, and it was 1,676 days ago that I last saw her.
Right.
You know, or my dad. And I'm thinking, and these people say they're caring, loving step parents. You know, there's a lot of step parents out there that are withholding children from fathers, mothers.
Yeah.
And this is where the war comes in, because these kids are literally, I was used as a pawn. My ex-husband for 63 years was used as a pawn. He never got to see his father growing up at all. So he knew the trades of a alienating child. He knew how to play the game too, by not opening the door after his mom and stepdad drove 4 or 5 hours to come see us.
There is something I want to just really distinguish. A lot of people can go through this as children, but they don't necessarily become an abuser later on. And the difference is that do you know the difference with what happened to you and doing it to someone else? Do you know the difference between right and wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And when you do know, what do you choose? Like, I can raise my hand right now, but am I going to hit you or am I going to hug you?
Mm-hmm.
That is my split second choice. That's not on you.
That's right.
So when I know the difference, that is wrong. You become the abuser. But when you don't know, you can be or have empathy as to the fact that you've lived through it, but really haven't learned that. You can actually have sympathy for someone who doesn't know, but could learn if they had the opportunity.
Right.
So there is that distinction. It's not necessarily hurt people, because there's a lot of people like you and I who are actually helping people.
Exactly.
Who choose not to, right?
Because we've been hurt so many times.
Yeah.
But yet our alienators, when they're hurting us, there's nobody hurting them back, because we either walk away, we take the punches, we take the burns, we take whatever they give at us and pray that we survive it. And then they promise that they'll never do it again and never do again. But this is how they condition you, right?
Oh yeah.
And the children, when they upset the children, what do? They go out and buy the children a lollipop or a gift or a treat. This is how they condition these kids to hate us.
Well, belonging is a very powerful motivator. Belonging is ingrained in children who even belong to an abuser, because survival says that they do that.
Right.
There are so many even children of serial killers who still love their parent.
Right.
Even though they've done horrible things. It kind of almost makes me sometimes wish I'd broken the law.
Right. Children will always protect abusers.
Because then at least in jail I get to see my kids,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's so back-assward. It's crazy. But I was going to say that,
that
when my
when my
daughter
daughter
escaped, it
escaped,
was because
it
she
was
had
because she
noticed
had
the pattern,
noticed.
and that she started to challenge it, so that when she noticed and was confronting, her alienator of what was going on, that's when it turned on her. And then that's when they started turning on her too. And that she was kind of non-existent. And then she saw the pattern between them and me and went, wait a minute. But the price she paid was her siblings. She was kicked out during a snowstorm. She was helping me at the Out of the Cold, other homeless people, and came home to find the locks had been changed on the house. And there was a note on the door saying, you no longer live here, and wasn't allowed to get any of her clothes or her medication or her belongings for 2 months, and then total discard. So she became the example of what happens to the others if they dare try to reach out to me.
That's right. And that's what I was trying to say, that if
Yeah.
the children defy the alienators and start sending the mom or the dad phone calls, being nice to them or
Anything.
whatever, the alienator will punish them.
Yeah.
So this is why the kids have to choose one side, but after the fact. But these judges need to stop it during the divorce. Children should never be picked you asked to pick a parent. Children should have shared parenting.
Yeah.
At all costs.
Yeah.
But
well, when
unless they could prove there is abuse. But if there is no abuse to the children, then why would
They can see.
Yeah. But why would they take a good parent away from the child if there is no abuse?
Yeah.
It works either
I
way.
actually had a domestic violence lawyer tell him to get my ex to hit me in front of the children because the courts want to see blood. And I just went, are you insane? I ended up firing him because he just like, do you think he's going to stop?
They want the
drama.
I would never do that to my children.
Yeah, they want the drama.
Ever.
Yeah.
Makes them money. They're profiting off of our children and our pain and suffering. As if we haven't been abused enough. As if we don't know what we're talking about. This is sad that we can't protect our kids from it.
No.
And that's why
I would say
there's a prejudice too amongst the authorities or the professionals, even NPA, that put money for the health and welfare of children. If you can't pay $500 an hour or $2,000 for a course, well, then your child doesn't get help. So is it about their income, or is it about helping these children because they're being abused? I have to question that. I would say, help the child first and work it out later. But get the children the help. I don't see that children of only parents who have money get the help they need. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you, Mary.
Sorry, I had to mute my mic to make sure that you don't echo, and I keep forgetting to turn it back on. My apologies.
That's okay.
Yeah, the children that have to suffer through all this have no escape, have no one to talk to. So what they do is they go deeper into depression, they get suicidal, they get violent,
Cutting.
They become school shooters. Yes, they cut themselves and become bulimic. I was for 25 years bulimic because my ex-husband used to call me a cow. I was 85 pounds and he was telling me how fat I was and ugly and
I'm sorry. I'm just laughing because it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Well, it is. And then he taught the children to call me big butt and all this stuff. So, he was conditioning them to abuse me so that he didn't look like the idiot in front of other people.
I'm not doing
and
anything.
then-
I'm not doing anything.
No hands.
Yeah.
Hands.
Yeah, exactly. And then the
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
the grandparents would question the children, why are you talking like that about your mom? And then I'd say, well, the dad's teaching them that. And he'd say, oh, no, I'm not teaching them. You're beautiful or whatever. So they, they change everything so that they don't get caught.
Mhm.
But this is what we need to educate people on the domestic violence, on the emotional part and psychological, because domestic violence isn't always just hitting. Some don't hit. I got strangled a lot. I got had to wear turtlenecks in the summertime because I've got hand marks. I mean, his hands were so big. It was bigger than a baseball glove. And all he had to do was hold me with one hand. He was a middle linebacker for the Hamilton team. And he is like very athletic. And I had to fight him off. Yet he was scared of me.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, how dare you coward? You're telling
Yeah, they are
the
cowards.
Yeah, they are
police
cowards.
you're scared of me? Really? Like I fell to the floor. I was disabled in a wheelchair when they took me away, and I fell to the floor. And this is what got me to start walking on my own again. I reached up to him, looking up at him, because he startled me, and I just like my knees gave out. I was just starting to learn how to walk. And I'll never forget it. I reached up to him thinking he'd hold my hand. He looked at me, kicks me while I'm on the floor and says, "Get up, you effing crippled," and walked away. And 10 days later, I'm in jail.
Wow.
So, these memories that we go through of the disgust, the shame I felt. But why should I feel shame? I didn't do it. Every time he shit the bed or whatever, I had to change the sheets when he was sick. And, like he would throw the sheets at me, like, Amber Heard, because she shit the bed. Oh, geez, it's a big wild story. But what about other partners that have to deal with sick husbands or sick wives, and they're taking care of all this, and nobody sees it. We worked hard to make that family work, for them to take it in 2 seconds and tear it apart.
Well, and that's the thing. It's not a weak person.
No,
They target.
it's just,
There is no
challenge
in catching a mouse.
right.
Bring down a
Bring
lion.
down a lion.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
And that's what we are.
Um,
We were.
We were,
We were.
but we
Well, I
still
still
are.
am.
Still are.
I still
We
am.
still are.
Still are.
'Cause
I
we're
still
still here.
am.
Still here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My kids are in their 30s. I don't cry for them, but I cry for them.
Yes.
If you know what I mean. Like, I
I know
feel
exactly what
so
you mean.
bad
Exactly what
that
you
they're locked up inside. My daughter sends me messages. She's in her 30s, that I will never see my grandchildren. And when she does have children, she will tell them what an abusive mother I was. And, like the other one calls me a crackhead alcoholic. I've never drank ever in front of them. And I don't drink. I've never done crack in my life. So, these are all submitted into these family courts. So we're being targeted for the rest of our lives because we're crackhead alcoholics that have never drank or done drugs.
Yeah.
And yet you got these crackheads out there and alcoholics out there that are killing, put through the, criminal system over and over and over, and they get protected more than we do.
And get to see their kids because the court
get to see
demands
their
it.
kids. Yeah. The man that killed my brother, his ex-wife was court ordered to take the 10-year-old boy to Kingston Pen to go visit his dad after he killed my brother. and almost killed a family of 4 6 months prior to killing my brother.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, where is the justice system today?
I don't know.
I don't know.
What kind of judges are these that allow this to happen?
You know, the last
the
judge
last
I
judge
had
I had
8 years
8
ago,
years
this is the
ago,
last
this is the
time
last
court
time
ended.
court ended.
I swear he
I
was an
swear he
alienator
was an
too,
alienator too,
because he used
because he
exactly
used
the same
exactly the
words
same words
as
as
my ex,
my ex,
like word for
like
word.
word for word.
And I
think
And I
thought,
thought,
I have no
I
chance.
have no chance.
Not at
Not
all.
at all.
Yeah.
And
And
one of the last
one of the
things
last
he
things
said
he
to me
said to me
was,
was,
well, don't worry about it.
"Don't
You'll
worry about
always
it.
be
You'll
mom.
always be mom."
And so I
And
asked,
so I
when?
asked, when?
Because
Yeah.
it's their
Because it's
childhood,
their
not
childhood,
mine.
not mine.
Exactly.
You know, they
You know,
need their
they
mom
need their
now.
mom now.
They do.
Don't
when
need
they're
it
young.
when they're later.
When they're later.
Yeah, because
Wow.
later it's too late.
Yeah,
Later they
Yeah.
don't want you because they don't know you anymore.
right.
And that's the
Right.
And time
saddest
And time
part.
is much
Is
different
much
for
different
kids
for
than it is
kids
for
than it is
adults.
for adults.
Hmm.
Like, we've been in
Like,
this
we've been in this
18
18
years.
years.
We
That's-
can
that's-
survive. We're
You know,
strong.
you
We
know.
have a mental capacity for an adult to hold, where these children are dealing with adult problems in a mind that has not been educated enough,
right.
has not
Or has
lost
no
enough.
idea
And
what's
has
going
no
on.
idea what's going on.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's
know,
why
we're
these
adults.
You know,
courts-
we're adults.
We have time
We
and
have
distance
time and
and the
distance and the
opportunity to look at things
to look at things
objectively.
objectively.
We have support
We
like
have support
this,
like
you know, like
this,
the
you know,
online
like the
stuff, with the
online
different
stuff, with the
counseling.
different
Our children
counseling.
have
Our
nothing,
children have nothing.
nothing.
and they've been led to
And they've
believe
been led
there's
to
no
believe
way
there's
out.
no way out.
Yep. And once they turn 18, they have no one to go to. They're thrown away from the court system.
I would say even 16.
I would say even 16.
Well,
And
And
in my experience
Yeah.
in the court, that once they were teenagers, the court just doesn't want to be bothered.
you're right, because mine were 15, 17, and 18.
You know,
Yeah.
it's almost like they just want to wash their hands
wash their hands
Yeah.
in case
in case
something goes wrong and they don't want to be
and they
held
don't want to be
liable.
held liable.
Yeah. Well, that's where Justice Taylor called my ex-husband a conniving, scheming, manipulative liar, and had no doubt he set me up. But he gets the house and kids and don't pay support until the house sells. And I get a phone call a day after raising my kids for 19 years on my own. And these kids were amazing kids.
Yeah.
To becoming what they are today. And today they are so messed up. To hate one whole side of the family, calling us abusers, like I said, alcoholics. And yet no one in this side of the family is like that, whatever they accused us of, right?
Mhm.
It's the other side. So they're
Mhm.
projecting, and it's almost like they're trying to get help. They want people to read between the lines and get them help, saying, I'm stuck with an abuser. Like, we're signaling us as a domestic violence survivor. We signaled during our relationship before we had kids, but no one could understand our signal.
Right.
But we know when our kids are signaling something like that, we know they're trying to get out.
Right.
Because my daughters wanted to come with me, but they didn't know how to say it. So they abused me more.
Mhm.
That's their way of hurting, by
Right.
abusing me. Because they know that if they abused me, they would get praised by their father.
Oh yeah.
So
Rewards.
Yeah. So the kids were craving some kind of love. They got conditional love.
Yes.
Because we give them unconditional love. So this is a signal that the kids are craving love. So they had to hurt us.
Well,
Do you understand what I'm saying?
On some level, they know that we're unconditional. Because
No,
we'll
I
always
understand. Yes, I understand that. But what they're trying to do is help get us to see that they're suffering through that way.
Right.
That they have to hurt us to get love from the other alienating party.
Of course.
Yes. That's what they're doing. And people don't see how these kids are hurting. We do.
And what a high price to pay.
Yeah.
That's
It's
not
so
love.
sad. It's what
I
breaks
look
my
at
heart.
alienated children like child soldiers.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And if you look at the child soldiers that in Rwanda, was it Romeo Dallaire? Was talking about, fight like soldiers, die like children.
Mm-hmm.
And, these children are forced to kill their own families.
Mm-hmm.
To kill their own villagers. I mean, how do these kids go back after that?
You can't. And then they become criminals later on in life. So they're being conditioned to abuse for the rest of their lives at a very young age. And this is why we need to stop the family courts from taking young children from newborn on up away from a loving parent. This is sad. This is sad for Canada to do it. It's sad for the United States to do it. It's sad for the UK to do it. Why are they using our children like this?
Well, the system is using our children too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why are they using we know why. It's for money. But can't they figure out another way to keep families together without abusing the children? Look at that judge that just got killed by a father right in the middle of his driveway. Why? Because the judge took probably a good father away. We don't know the story,
Right.
Because there are so many good fathers being taken away from their kids, and there's so many good mothers taken away from kids.
Yeah.
And it's not just the fathers that are, snap.
No.
Mothers snap too. That's why we get murder-suicides. We had a lawyer that jumped over the cliff with the child in his hand here, Kira.
Yes.
It's 20 minutes from my house. It's horrifying how people get damaged. This,
I know.
And they were once a loving parent. The kids ran to them. Now the kids run from us. And it's all because of the family court system.
Sounds like a soft song.
Oh.
Once.
Yeah. We're into
you. Now I know I run from you.
Yeah. Is it Rhythmics? No. Who was that?
No, Soft Cell.
Soft Cell, yes.
Soft Cell. Tainted Love.
Tainted Love, yeah. Tainted Love. That was back in the 80s. Yeah. But we're getting close to the hour here, Penny. I'm going to give you to get you to give us our last words on what would you recommend, or how would you let a parent know going through a divorce right now? What would you say to them?
I would say this is not your children. This is not the children you knew. And if you've seen Star Wars, this is Anakin and Ben Solo. They've become Darth Vader and Kylo Ren. They've forgotten who they really are. And try not to take this personally. This is something that you can't go through for them. This is something that all you can do is be there for them no matter what. And that may sound like a tall order, especially when you're hurting so badly. But as I've tried to look at things, I've thought of two analogies. One is the tortoise and the hare. The alienated parents are tortoises, and the alienators are the hares. We know how the story ends.
Right.
You put one painful foot in front of the other. It doesn't matter how slow or if you stop. Just every step is progress. And you'll get there. And I actually have a Honu turtle on my arm. From the Maori. It just reminds me it may take 5,000 years, but I will get there.
You'll get there.
Just focus on that finish line and forget the hair. And tortoises outlive rabbit.
Yes. Yes.
So
I have
and the
100-year-old.
second one
one is
I have 100-year-old turtles living in my my river here, and we go. They
Exactly.
come right into my yard. They're big giant snappers.
wow,
wow.
Yeah, 100 years
and
old.
tough shells,
Yeah, and they're monsters.
and stay grounded
Stay
too.
grounded too.
Yeah, yeah.
The second one is
The
to be a
second one is
lighthouse.
to be a lighthouse.
You can't
And
stop
explain
a
that.
storm,
storm,
Keep the light on.
but you can
but you
stand
can
still.
stand still.
You can stand
You can
firm,
stand firm.
Mm-hmm.
shine a light,
Shine a light,
and show
a
a beacon of hope to a safe harbor for your kids.
kids.
Yeah.
Lighthouses outlast
outlast
storms.
storms.
It's
Right.
what they do.
What they do.
And you know, there was a long time I didn't know how to do that. I was the crazy one. I was going all over the place, and it bothered me. How does somebody who does nothing have everything go their way?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought,
And
you
I
know
thought,
what?
you know what?
I
Why don't
stop.
I stop?
And then suddenly he was going crazy because I stopped.
Because I stopped.
And I thought, you
And
know
I
what?
thought,
I
you know
just
what?
have
I
to
just have
stand
to
here.
stand here.
I'm not
I'm
going
not
anywhere.
going anywhere.
My love for my
My
kids
love for
is
my
permanent.
kids is permanent.
There's my kids' initials with my in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
You know,
they're permanent.
they're permanent.
They're part of me.
You know, they're part of me.
And
Right.
I'm not
And
gonna
I'm
go
not
anywhere.
Gonna go anywhere.
So it's
So
just something that
it's just
is
something
there,
that is
and
there, and
time is on my
time
side.
is on my side.
Is there something you'd like
You
to
know,
say
they
to your
want it
kids?
and they want it
and they
quickly,
want it
but they
quickly,
can't
but they
sustain it.
can't sustain it.
Right. Would you like to say something to your kids?
Right.
Right.
I love you.
I love you.
I really do.
I really do.
I haven't had the
I
chance to
haven't
be
had
your
the
mom,
chance to be your mom,
and I would love to be.
and I would love to be.
Anytime, anywhere.
Anytime, anywhere.
You just let me know.
You just
You
let
know
me
how
know.
to get in
You know
touch
how
with
to
me.
get in touch with me.
'Cause I know you blocked
I
me,
know
so
you
I know you
blocked
know.
me, so I know you know.
And I'm waiting right here
And I'm
for
waiting
you.
right here for you.
I'm not going
I'm
anywhere.
not going anywhere.
God bless you and your children, Penny. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Don't jump
no.
off. I just want to send out there to all the alienated parents and grandparents and children, alienated children out there. Don't give up on your family. You know, you need them. They're the only source of love that you'll ever have, and you need that love to raise your own children in the future, and to have a good relationship with your future partners. So in my closing, I firmly believe that we should never give up on anyone that we love. And I don't. My kids will always be with me. And kids, I love you. You all know that. I've been a good mom to you as much as I can. And if you need anything, I'm always available. I'm here. And in closing, I'd like to say our next special guest next Sunday is from British Columbia, Edward Krupp, PhD.
Oh, nice.
He's going to be talking about shared parenting with us. We'll have a panel of a few guests. Vernon Beck, Canada Court Watch, will be on it to ask a few questions. We'll have Marianne Petrie, Dismantling the Corrupt Court System, will come on from the U.S. And we'll have Andy Martins back. His wife had COVID, so he's been away dealing with her every day. And we pray for his wife, Sherry, daily to get better. I unfortunately had a brother that got hit by a car 2 nights ago. He's in serious condition as well, and he just fought flesh-eating disease. You know, it's a very short life we have out here. We need to live it well, and to avoid any more conflict in the family. We need each other. We need each other, and we need to take care of each other because no one else will. So people out there, God bless. Thank you for tuning in with Molly and me on Let's Talk. with Penny Fisher from Toronto, Ontario. Penny, thank you. God bless.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. You too.
have a good week, everyone. We'll see you next Sunday. Thank you.